Gentlemen, let me ask you a question that we often keep to ourselves. How many times did you wake up last night? Was it once? Twice? 3 times? You drag yourself out of bed, you stand there waiting, and when it finally happens, it's not a relief. It's a weak stream, a struggle. You go back to bed, but the sleep is gone, and the next day, you're exhausted. Your energy is low. Your focus is off, and perhaps you've noticed that your performance in the bedroom isn't what it used to be. Most men are told this is just part of aging. They are told that once you hit 50 or 60, the prostate just inevitably grows, and there is nothing you can do but take medication or wait for surgery. I am here to tell you that is not the whole truth. While age plays a role, the real enemy of your prostate is fuel that is inflaming it, making it swell like a balloon, and pressing against your bladder is likely sitting in your kitchen right now. It might be on your dinner plate. Today, we are going deep. We are not just going to talk about generic healthy eating. We are going to identify the 7 specific foods that trigger inflammation in the prostate, disrupt your hormones, and ruin your sleep. And more importantly, I'm going to tell you exactly what to replace them with to help you sleep through the night and reclaim your vitality. First, we need to understand what is actually happening inside you. Think of your prostate as a walnut. It sits right at the base of your bladder, wrapping around the tube that carries urine out. When you are young, it's the size of a walnut. But for many men, as the years go by, it grows into the size of a lemon, or even an orange. This is benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. When that walnut becomes a lemon, it clamps down on that tube. That is why you have to push. That is why you can't empty your bladder completely. But here is the secret. The prostate doesn't just grow because of time. It grows because of stimulation. It is extremely sensitive to 2 things: hormones, specifically insulin, and a potent form of testosterone called DHT, and inflammation. When you eat foods that spike your insulin or trigger inflammation, you are essentially sending a signal to your prostate cells saying, grow, multiply, swell. So, let's cut off that signal. Let's look at the first, and perhaps the most dangerous enemy on your list. The first enemy, processed and cured meats. I know. We love bacon with breakfast. We love a good sausage on the grill. We love deli meats for a quick lunch. But if you are struggling with your prostate, these are fueling the fire. Here is the science. Processed meats are loaded with nitrates and preservatives to keep them pink and salty. When you consume these, especially in high quantities, they increase systemic inflammation in the body. But there is a second layer to this. Most commercially raised processed meats come from animals pumped with antibiotics and hormones to make them grow fast. When you consume that fat, you are taking in residues that can disrupt your own hormonal balance. Furthermore, these meats are often incredibly high in omega-6 fatty acids. You need some omega-6, but the modern diet has way too much. When your omega-6 levels are too high compared to your omega-3 south, your body enters a state of chronic inflammation. Your prostate, being a glandular tissue, is one of the first places to react to this inflammation by swelling. Instead of the bacon or the salami, look for lean, organic protein sources. Or, if you must have meat, choose grass-fed beef, which has a healthier omega-3 profile. The second enemy, the liquid sugar trap. You might think you are doing the right thing by avoiding soda. That's great. But what did you replace it with? Store-bought fruit juice, sweetened iced teas, energy drinks. High fructose corn syrup and liquid sugar are catastrophic for the aging male body. Here is why. When you drink sugar, your insulin spikes instantly. It's like an explosion in your bloodstream. High insulin levels are directly linked to prostate enlargement. Insulin is a growth factor. It tells cells to grow. High insulin also increases the production of an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. This enzyme converts your good testosterone into DHT, dihydrotestosterone. Now, listen carefully. DHT is the hormone mainly responsible for enlarging the prostate and causing hair loss. By drinking that glass of orange juice in the morning, or that soda with lunch, you are spiking insulin, which ramps up DHT, which tells your prostate to swell. It's a domino effect. Cut the liquid sugar. Stick to water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea. The third enemy, the white poison refined carbohydrates. This connects to the previous point. White bread, pasta, pastries, white rice. These are not just carbs. As soon as they hit your saliva, they turn into sugar. There was a study that showed men with diets high in refined carbohydrates had a significantly higher risk of BPH, enlarged prostate, compared to men who ate complex carbohydrates. Why? Again, the insulin connection, but also visceral fat. When you eat refined carbs, your body stores the excess energy as visceral fat. That's the belly fat, the spare tire. This belly fat is not just dead weight. It is metabolically active tissue. It acts like a toxic gland. It releases inflammatory chemicals called cytokines directly into your system. The more belly fat you have, the more inflammation you have, and the more pressure you put on your pelvic floor. By switching from white bread to whole grains, quinoa, or just eating more vegetables, you lower that insulin response and stop feeding that visceral fat. The fourth enemy, excessive dairy. This one is controversial, but we must address it. Milk, cheese, and cream. Cow's milk is designed by nature to turn a 65-pound calf into a 700-pound cow as quickly as possible. It is a growth fluid. It is packed with growth hormones and IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. IGF-1 is a powerful stimulator of cell proliferation. In a grown man, you do not want your prostate cells proliferating rapidly. Several studies have shown a correlation between high dairy intake and increased prostate volume. If you notice that you feel bloated or congested after dairy, try cutting it out for 30 days. Many men report a significant reduction in urinary urgency just by switching to almond milk, oat milk, or simply reducing their cheese intake. The fifth enemy, alcohol, specifically beer. I know, a cold beer at the end of the day is a ritual for many. But beer creates a perfect storm for prostate misery. First, alcohol is a diuretic. It irritates the bladder lining, making you feel like you need to pee even when the bladder isn't full. This is what causes that urgency feeling. Second, beer contains hops, and hops are highly estrogenic. They contain phytoestrogens. As men age, our testosterone naturally drops, and our estrogen levels can relatively rise. We want to avoid adding more estrogen-like compounds to our system. An imbalance between testosterone and estrogen is another key factor in prostate enlargement. And third, alcohol relaxes the muscles in the throat, causing snoring and apnea, but it also messes with the nerve signals to the bladder. It prevents you from getting into that deep, restorative REM sleep. If you want to save your sleep, try to stop drinking alcohol at least 3 to 4 hours before bed. And if you can, switch to a clear spirit or a glass of red wine which has resveratrol instead of the beer. The sixth enemy, spicy foods. This one doesn't cause the prostate to grow per se, but it causes immediate suffering for men who already have an enlarged prostate. Capsaicin, the compound that makes chili peppers hot, passes through your system and into your urine. When that spicy urine sits in your bladder, it irritates the bladder lining and the prostate. If you have ever had a spicy curry or Mexican food and found yourself waking up 5 times that night with a burning sensation or intense urgency, that is why. The prostate is already inflamed. The spice is just pouring salt on the wound. If you are struggling with symptoms, go mild. Your bladder will thank you. The seventh enemy, the dinner time mistake, salt and late eating. This isn't just about what you eat, but when and how salty it is. This was a key point in the research we analyzed. If you eat a salty meal for dinner, processed soup, a frozen meal, pizza, your body holds on to water to dilute that sodium. Where does that water go? It stays in your blood and tissues. Then, when you lie down to sleep, gravity is no longer pulling that fluid down to your legs. The fluid redistributes, your kidneys filter it out, and suddenly, your bladder is full. 2 hours later, you wake up. This leads to nocturia, excessive urination at night. Here is the fix. Reduce salt at dinner, and stop drinking large amounts of fluids after 6 o'clock or 7 p.m. Hydrate heavily in the morning and afternoon. But in the evening, sip, don't gulp. So, we have cleared out the enemies. What should you do now? It's not enough to just remove the bad. We need to add the good. We need to give your prostate the building blocks to repair itself. There are 3 powerhouses I want you to start eating this week. Cooked tomatoes. Notice I said cooked. Tomatoes contain lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that specifically targets the prostate. Cooking the tomatoes like in a tomato sauce or paste releases the lycopene so your body can absorb it. Pumpkin seeds. These are nature's prostate pill. They are packed with zinc. The prostate has the highest concentration of zinc of any organ in the body. It needs zinc to function. A handful of pumpkin seeds a day can make a real difference. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. These contain sulforaphane, which helps the liver detoxify excess hormones and reduce inflammation. The bottom line, gentlemen, you do not have to accept waking up tired and feeling like you've lost your edge. Your body is incredibly resilient. If you stop feeding the inflammation will subside. Try this for 2 weeks. Cut out the processed meats, the liquid sugar, and the late-night salty snacks. Watch what happens to your sleep. Watch what happens to your energy. You are in control of your health, more than you know. If you found this guide helpful, please like this video so it can reach more men who need this information. And tell me in the comments which of these foods is the hardest for you to give up. Let's talk about it. I'm Susan, your wellness guide. Here's to your health, your sleep, and your vitality. I'll see you in the next video.